Hello and welcome to episode 136 of the Pitcher or the Hitter, the podcast by the M-SABR Dynasty League for the M-SABR Dynasty League. I am Cam.
I'm Sahil.
And semis week is over, and we have a finals matchup set. It is going to be you versus Jake, not just in this league, but in Gallardo as well. The double UV Jake matchup, to the chagrin of most.
Yeah, I this is absolutely insane how that worked out. And I mean, um, we'll talk about the semis matchups in here in a bit. I mean, obviously Jake blew you out in one of the semis, although you did recover nicely and managed to snag three categories and tied another in the last day after it looked like you were gonna like potentially get 12 0'd. But you see how me and EBO ended, or Zane? It's not EBO now. Did you see how we ended?
Yeah, you were dead to rights, and then you just got whip flipped in the last second because Zane left a reliever in.
Yeah, well, I mean, the reliever was already playing. Like there was Camille Duvall. There's nothing he could have really done. But yeah, I mean, I could either played for whip or quality starts yesterday. I chose to play for whip. I had Woodruff and Luzardo both needed quality starts, but Luzardo was going against Atlanta. Um, I looks like I would have wanted, and Zane got a stolen base, which tied it, and because he was a higher seed, he had the tiebreaker. The quality start would have made it 6-5-1, but then it didn't matter because Camille Duvall blew up and vindicated my decision. Thank God. And literally, if he does not give up a hit to the last batter he faced, Elias Diaz, if he would have gotten him out, Zane's playing Jake right now. It is that close. We're one hit away. And if that's not the epitome of every at bat, every ad, every pitcher you throw, every inning, whatever matters, like I mean that just proved it right there. So just a wild semis matchup. So we are obviously a dynasty baseball podcast and not a Gallardo podcast, but that was definitely worth mentioning. That was wild.
Yeah,
Um,
no, we'll definitely provide Gallardo updates throughout the year as we have
yeah,
when there have been updates to give. It's kind of rough that for me especially because that matchup flipping meant that I dropped from third to fourth in the baseball league, which could end up hurting me in the long run if I do well in the other sports.
yeah. I was certainly happy to see that little extra benefit there of me winning. So hey, I'll take it. But I'd be remiss if we didn't mention the other big league. I'm in three finals for M-SABR leagues, M-SABR baseball leagues. Uh, do you want to explain what this is?
Yeah, so this for those of you who remember, we got to go back to episode 109. This was published February 18th. It was called ESPN Funny Players Draft. Me, Sahil, and Andrew all drafted guys with funny names on ESPN. Not just funny names. Lots of people drafted funny players. Well, three of us drafted funny players. And there was also a fourth team that drafted all players named Rodriguez. Um, but in the end, that league has made it to the finals, and it's going to be you versus Andrew. I lost in the semis, and so did the Martinez team. I can't,
Rodriguez team.
or Rodriguez team.
You're already forgetting. Yeah,
Yeah, I can't even find that team in my list of teams, but
I can. It's team four. Yeah,
I
Adder.
can't. No, I can't find either team in this league in my list of teams. I must have hit it at some point. But either way, yes, you're in the finals, and it's going to be a matchup. You've each got one player how does this work? I don't even remember how.
So
Uh,
the categories, there are two categories. There's like a category here on ESPN that's just called batting, and one that's just called pitching. What? Hold on.
oh, I think it might be times your team wins with this person in the lineup.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
would double check on that if I could find.
yeah, no, yeah, you are, I think, absolutely right about that. Yes, I think you're right. So this has come down to, and I kid you not, this is as a kicker, we did a 2 week playoffs in this league. I drafted Travis Jankowski and Andrew drafted JT Chargeois. And those are the only two players on either of our team or on either of our teams who are playing in the majors. And yes, we are literally about to have an M-SABR fantasy baseball playoffs that is just JT Chargeois versus Travis Jankowski.
Yeah, no, incredible stuff. And I remember being a little upset at the time because Jankowski was on a major league roster when you drafted him. So he was definitely a bit of a ringer. Sure, he's a bit of a legend here at M-SABR, but I think I don't know. You took a guy who was rostered, whereas I was taking guys like um like Samuel Basayo and I others that I still can't locate my team.
I'm a little disappointed because I had Yu Chang on my bench the entire season, and Yu Chang played in some amount of games for Boston. He wasn't good. He had a 200 OBP and a 352 slugging and 105 at bats, but he was there. He was certainly on some winning Red Sox team. So, but hey, I also drafted some legends too. You know, I drafted Tommy Malone, right? I drafted Irvin Santana. He hasn't played in forever. I did draft Chad Cole, and he did play. Oh my God. 8.45 ERA, 196 whip. Whew.
Man.
Uh, I could go on and on about
You
this.
know, Chad Cool is another guy you drafted a lot of rostered guys.
Chad Cole was not on a roster the previous year. Remember, he had a what was it, the cancer issue?
Was that 2022 or
Let's
2021 that he last played?
see what Google says.
I feel like he was pitching well in 2022.
He did pitch in 2022. He had a 5.72 ERA.
Okay, so not pitching
But
well, but
he
he's pitching.
so he signed on February 4th. I don't know when exactly we recorded the episode. I mean, I know it was posted right after that, but
Yeah, it was recorded like the second or third week of February.
okay. Well then in that case he had signed. Yeah, I'm not sure. But in any event, I am in the finals against Andrew. So Andrew, if you're listening, I hope that's a nice consolation prize for losing in the dynasty semis. And another kicker for Andrew, I feel bad. Andrew like was crushing me in dynasty football after the Thursday game, and he's like, "Hey, at least I'm gonna win there." Um, and it's still possible he wins, but he needs 20 points from Deshaun Watson in the second half, and he has 3.3 points all game, and they just lost Nick Chubb. So uh, ESPN's giving him a 1% chance to win, but I still believe in you, Andrew.
Well, there you have it. Another season. That's another league going down to the wire here. Best of luck to both of you, and I will keep the listeners updated if I'm ever able to find this team that has disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah, it's weird that you're not able to find it.
Oh, wait, I think I found it. I had to unhide it. Yes, my team is
How
Catch the
dare you
Fever.
hit that league? Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, my team is Catch the Fever. Um, the only one of my players, and it was not Samuel Basayo, it was Samuel Infante.
Oh no, that makes it so much worse. What the?
Yeah, and Samuel Infante, they have updated his name, which is tragic. The only one of my players who got any amount of big league playing time this year was Jonathan Singleton, and he was maybe the guy I was most sure would not play in the majors outside of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he really just came out of nowhere to just like be relevant again. So like kudos to him. Like that's awesome that he was able to come back, but also like that was just wild.
Remember Ray Patrick Elijah Ditter?
Yeah, I added him to my prospect list a couple of times, just like when I had like an extra spot and I hadn't found anybody to put in there yet.
Yeah. He's my guy. Ooh, as the LM of this league, I can change the finals to make it to put me in there instead of you.
That would be such a dick move.
I think that's what this league is for.
If you do that, I'll quit right here at the podcast. You can record by yourself the rest of the episode. I don't even care.
All right, we don't want that. Um, I finished with 3 wins, 10 losses, and 8 ties, which was slightly worse than the Rodriguez team that didn't put out a full lineup. They did have Derek Rodriguez, who pitched 5 innings this year for Atlanta um, as their guy.
That's a great guy. And Grayson Rodriguez and Eduardo Rodriguez on their bench.
And Julio on their bench too, and Endy. They have a lot of Rodriguez. This team was one of the better teams in the league.
It was, oh yeah. Shame they lost in the semis. But yeah, definitely one of the best 4 teams in the league.
Absolutely. All right, we've spent way too much time on this episode from February. Are we ready to dive into the semis? We had two very exciting matchups.
No. Actually, there's one more thing we need to discuss before we get into the matchups. I mentioned this earlier in the week when it happened, but we have now played 2,000 days in the league. We are now at 2,003 days as of today, but on the 15th, we reached day 2000. So congratulations to everyone, both those who were there at the very beginning when we did the draft and all of you all that we've picked up along the way. It has been a fun journey. And it is crazy that we've played 2,000 days in this league. Here's hoping we have 2,000 more days that are equally as great as the first 2,000.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of days. We've been really at it for a while. We're about to finish our 6th full season, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. Man, six seasons. What a crazy ride it's been. But you ready to dive into these semis matchups?
Yeah, let's do it. Which one do we want to talk about first?
I don't know, you pick.
Let's talk about the one that was a little bit closer. Jake versus Ruthvik. Ruthvik, didn't have a great offensive week. He did pitch really well. I will give him that. But Jake played fantastic, and he got the well-deserved win. He set the playoff K record with 107. That's the 5th most Ks in any matchup and the most ever in a playoff matchup. The rate stats were not particularly good, but he struck out 107 guys, had 7 quality starts, and managed to win.
Oh, God damn it. Will Smith is now on for a hold for Jake. Sorry, this has been a nightmare start. No, Jake played very well. He's basically done what he's done all year, and it's go with the quantity for the pitching, and have an explosive offense, and it's a very deadly combination. He did have some slip ups early in the week with some of his pitchers, which certainly I think made it a little easier to just aggressively stream hitters. Or sorry, aggressively stream pitchers, and just knowing that the ratios were already just kind of, it was too late for them. But he just knocked it out of the park. And I mean, not 19 home runs too, like 52 ribbies, like 55 runs, great offensive week. Ruthvik, on the other hand, I mean, I think this, matchup kind of sums up his season, right? He pitches fantastically, and I think he manages a pitching staff about as well, if not better than anybody in this league, right? I think he does a fantastic job with that, but the offense just is not there. And he has Acuna, right? And Acuna helps paper over a lot of holes. And gives him kind of a decent floor with like starting or with like stolen bases, for example. But boy, I mean, he just needs like another 2-3 bats. I mean, what was the line I used earlier in the season? I was like, if you put Yuki's offense with Ruthvik's pitching staff, it's like a top 3 or 4 team. Like, it just didn't come together hitting wise, and that's why he lost.
Yeah, no, I agree. It definitely didn't come together hitting wise. I mean, he had a fantastic week from Devers, really solid week from Acuna. But outside of that, he was relying on Davis Schneider, who was terrible this week. Michael Garcia was not good. George Springer had a rough week. Mitch Garver had a rough week. Mike Yastrzemski, Santander. So just a lot of bats did not play well. Just that's kind of how it is. He gets carried by a couple bats. And if his supporting cast does well, then he'll put up a week like he did against me. And if his supporting cast does not do well, he'll put up a week like he did against Jake.
Yeah, and it's got to be a little disappointing because his offense, like the 2 weeks before this one, was like on fire. Like when I played him in rivalry, wow, I really butchered that. When I played him in rivalry week, I like I had a hard time offensively against him. And he played really well against Elastic. Just the gas ran out. It did not help that Acuna did miss the end of the week with injuries, and then Mountcastle as well. But it's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, Jake's team, we'll talk about him. Great week from Tommy Pham, surprisingly enough. Yordan Alvarez drove in 8 runs. Good week from Matt Olson as well. I think I'm going to give him the matchup MVP with a shout out to Michael Harris. Michael Harris did hit 4 homers, drove in 6 runs, scored 8 runs. Olson also had the 4 homers, but he drove in a few more runs. It had a slightly better on base percentage as well. So I think he had a slightly better week, but both were terrific. Yeah, pitching wise, Jake didn't have any standout guys. Carlos Rodon did strike out 19, which led the team, but he had one quality start and then 1 5-inning start. Luzardo had 1 good start and 1 bad start. Luis Castillo had a big strikeout start but gave up a couple runs. Yeah, just a lot of strikeouts. Brian Bayo was the same. 10 Ks and 6 3-run innings. Yeah, this just not the best rate stats wise, but he hit well and he got the Ks, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. He had a blueprint to win, and he executed it beautifully. And Jake's done that more often than not this season, and he did it again here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a great win for him. Yeah, he's gonna be in the finals against you. Do we want to talk about your matchup now, or anything else you want to say here?
I'll just, I mean, in the spirit of vexillology, where we kind of, we eulogize flags, just kind of eulogize the team here. I mean, I thought it was a great season for Ruthvik overall. I think he definitely exceeded our expectations. And I think it's just it is, a testament to his ability to build a pitching staff with how far he's been able to go in this league. I mean, what, two semis appearances in the last 4 seasons. I think there might have been another playoff appearance in that time. I'm blanking now on.
I think he made the playoffs in 2019 as well.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, 2019, 2020, and 2023, he's made the playoffs. So 3 of his 5 years in the league. And it's been, it was a great run this year. And honestly, like I said, I think he's a couple bats away from really making some noise next year. And it's just, can he make those moves?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really what we've been saying for a while, but definitely got him a good season this year. No doubt about it.
It's funny because like for a while there in the middle of the season, I was literally like, hey, like maybe it's time for you to like take the foot off the pedal and rebuild. And he didn't. Kudos to him, and it's worked out. So he was down. I wouldn't say it was a particularly likely chance that he was going to be able to win yesterday, but he needed to have one more strikeout, one more save, and one more hold than Jake yesterday. That certainly at least put him in a conversation to potentially win. For him to be able to do that after some great competitive wins over the top teams this year and some close losses, like kudos to him. So he certainly proved me wrong.
No, he certainly proved a lot of people wrong this year. I was thinking earlier in the season that I was happy to have his pick because I thought it'd be a lottery pick, and now it's going to be pick number 9. So that's always a great season if your pick is 9th.
So it's a better pick than yours, or a worse pick than yours.
Yeah, that's what happens when you beat a team in the playoffs.
That is accurate, yes. But yeah, wanna switch matchups here?
Yeah, let's shift gears here. You had an was it an 8-4 win? 8-3-1 win over Andrew. And you just looked like a Death Star out there. Your offense drove in 67 runs, scored 60 runs, great ERA. You didn't have a ton of pitching quantity, and you only got 3 out of 9 quality starts, but you really didn't need it the way your offense played. Could have been a different story if you maybe didn't hit as well, and if you maybe had another pitcher blow up or something, but in the end you had a pretty comfortable win.
Yeah, I kind of like it was weird at the beginning of the week because I think I had a couple starters get pushed forward, pushed back, so kind of affected a bit of my strategy. Like Clark Schmidt was supposed to have a 2-start week and pitch Monday, and then he got pushed back to Wednesday, not even Tuesday, because the Yankees wanted to reshuffle their rotation when they got rained out on Monday, and then they got rained out Wednesday, so he finally pitched Thursday, had a couple injuries, just whole bunch of mess there. So then I kind of decided early on, hey, Andrew has this big scary group of starting pitchers going later in the league. Let me not even mess with the quantity stats there. Let me just kind of go for ERA and WHIP. And thankfully, I was able to keep those low enough to make that strategy work, as well as put together a pretty decent bullpen effort, 4 holds, 3 saves. I mean, between that and the offense, I think that was really enough to propel me to a win. I'll give a shout out to a couple players here. Let's see, Tatis, 429 OBP, 2 homers, 6 steal or 6 ribbies and steal. Castellanos, 2 homers, 7 ribbies, 345 OBP. Mookie Betts was great. Saya Suzuki's continued as hot August and September. I think the pitching side, shout out Tanner Scott, who I know kind of blew it today for me in the finals, but he got two saves. Thank you, Eric, for just cutting him out of the blue there. He was a huge contributor to my team last week. And I suspect I know who you're going to name the matchup MVP, so I'm not going to mention him, but I'm going to turn it over to you. Or I will say Braxton Garrett too got one of my 3 quality starts, 6 shutout innings. What a great trade acquisition he's been.
Yeah, so I think you correctly guessed that Brandon Woodruff's your matchup MVP. Yeah. 2 quality starts, 13 Ks, sub 1 ERA, sub 1 WHIP. Just a fantastic week from him. I wanted to give it to a hitter based on how you hit this week, but your offensive production was just really so spread out. There wasn't any one super standout guy. Tatis was probably your best overall hitter. Alonso hit for some power, but had a 273 on base percentage. And you also had, a good week from Castellanos as well. But Woodruff was really the guy who had those great starts that allowed you to kind of take it easy pitching wise and not worry about streaming guys. So I'll give it to him.
Yeah, I wonder what my ERA and WHIP would have been without him, and I don't even want to know that. I could have made this matchup a whole different story. But yeah, I mean, as for Andrew, like, I think he put together a pretty solid pitching effort, right? A 370 ERA, 122 WHIP, 70 Ks, 5 quality starts, 3 saves, 2 holds. Like, that's not bad. He had 9 steals, 45 ribbies, 42 runs, like a 334 OBP. Like, that's all pretty solid. It's just, it's just wasn't enough. My offense has been playing extremely well right now, and it's if you're not coming out there just absolutely swinging, it's going to be hard to beat them. And I was able to carry 5 to 6 offensive categories, and you said a huge part of my win. But I mean, Andrew had a fantastic season. From where this team has come, and I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but from drafting worse than the auto draft, to Andrew kind of taking over this team and building it up the way he has. I mean, most of these guys are pretty young. Like, it's an exciting core he has here, and I don't think Andrew's team is going away anytime soon. I'm not looking forward to playing him in the future. This team is ascending fast, and it is scary to watch.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely think this team's got some staying power. He's got a lot of good young bats. He's maybe found some good pitchers. We'll see how good they are. At the very least, Justin Steele is a stud and a great get. So having a young ace like that is massive, especially one that this team didn't have this time last year. Not only did he take a big leap forward, he made a semis. Kind of feels a little bit like my team in 2020. So we'll see if he can rally off a few more semis appearances in a row.
Yeah, hopefully he's not like you and just gets to the semis. Although he did make it to the finals last year. Hopefully he's making it to the finals in some of these matchups. But yeah, I mean, he laid it all out there, used all 8 ads. The only reason he didn't use all 12 starts is Reed Detmers got scratched at the last second yesterday. Not that it really would have made a difference, but yeah, congrats, Andrew, on a fantastic season, and can't wait to see what the encore looks like.
Absolutely. And yeah, those are the matchups. Looks like here I'm looking just to see who would have beaten whom.
I already calculated that. I would have beaten everybody else. Jake would have beaten Andrew and Ruthvik. Actually, I forget who would have won between Andrew and Ruthvik.
Ruthvik would have beaten Andrew, and as a matter of fact, you would have tied Ruthvik and advanced on the seeding.
Yeah. That's what I meant by beaten. And
I think that's a worthwhile.
It is a worthwhile distinction. Yeah, I mean, Ruthvik's team plays me very tough. It matches up very well with my team because he pitches very well, I hit very well, and then we end up kind of splitting like that. I mean, he beat me once this year, right? And then almost beat me in rivalry week. Obviously, Jake is a tougher team, and like I am in no way looking forward to playing Jake. This is going to be a true just battle, but yeah, I'm glad not to have to see Ruthvik on the other side. That just he always gives me trouble.
No, he definitely does. He's a tough opponent and a tough out. But yeah, it's going to be you versus Jake. Do we want to preview this matchup?
Yeah, let's do it. I am feeling a little better than I was a few minutes ago because Will Smith blew the hold. I mean, this is just nuts how this has worked out. I feel like in a way this is kind of how it was always supposed to work out. Top two seeds right here, right? We saw the upset of you and Eric. Andrew and Ruthvik were able to advance, but I'll be honest, and maybe with having some hindsight, I'm able to see it, but it felt like this is what the finals matchup was always going to be. At least,
I mean, this is the first year since 2020 where it's the top two seeds in the finals. Each of the last few years, there has been an upset in the semis.
that's true. Yeah, I remember 2021. I felt like both of us were so sure that we were destined to play each other in the finals, and it didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the fantasy gods are doing, but yes, it's Jake and I are playing in two leagues here. Let's go through this like we usually do. Pitching matchups here. So I had Cal Quantrill go today. He paddocked but pitched well, 5 2/3, 2 earned. Tomorrow, I currently have Zach Gallen going against the Giants, Braxton Garrett against the Mets, and I'm streaming Kenta Maeda against your Reds. Wednesday, I have Aaron Nola at Atlanta. That's going to be an interesting decision for me. And then Kyle Bradish at Houston. Don't love either of those matchups, but Bradish has been rolling. Thursday, I have Garrett Cole against Toronto and then Max Fried at Washington. Fried was initially lined up to start against Philly, but got pushed back due to a hot spot. I think that's what they call it on his finger when it's not a blister, but it.
Like they think it could be a blister at some point.
Yeah, they were like, if he would pitch on Tuesday, they were like, it's going to become a blister. They're like, let's give it some rest so it doesn't become a blister. So, but that is so. The good news at the moment is that it avoids having to have Fried start against Philly. He started against Philly last week, pitched 5 solid innings, but they took him out after 80 some pitches, and I wonder if that was why. So the good news is it ends up being an easier matchup. The bad news is that, I mean, I think there's a risk that, hey, something goes wrong and he's not, they push him back more. So that's going to be something I have to monitor. Friday, I have Woodruff at Miami. Saturday, I got nobody currently. And then Sunday, I currently have nobody. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And yeah, so let's turn to Jake here. So from Jake's perspective, great stream today. Mike Clevenger, complete game, gave up 1 earned. It's got Michael Wacha going right now, who is struggling a little bit against the Rockies. He's just gave up an RBI double to Ezekiel Tovar. Tuesday, he's got Blake Snell against the Rockies at home and Luis Castillo at Oakland. I mean, it's two great starts. He does have Evaldi going against Boston, but I have a feeling Jake's going to sit him based on the way he set his lineup. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Wednesday, he's got Kevin Gausman at the Yankees, Seth Lugo against Colorado, and Brian Bayo against Texas. Thursday.
Is Seth Lugo at Colorado or at home? Because that's a big difference.
At home, in San Diego. As is Waka today. Thursday he has nobody. Friday he has nobody. Saturday he has Carlos Rodon against the Diamondbacks. I'll actually be at that game. I'll be taking a trip up to New York this weekend. And then Sunday he has Luzardo against the Brewers. If he chooses to keep Clevenger and Waka through the week, they are both starting on Sunday. Clevenger at Boston and Waka against his old team, the Cardinals. But obviously, it's no guarantee he's going to keep those streamers or use them on Sunday.
Yeah, so I think I like his matchup better than yours. I don't think either of you have a particularly exciting week in terms of pitching matchups. There's definitely a lot of iffy things. I mean, Lugo being at home against the Rockies as opposed to at Coors Field is a big difference, but I think there's not a ton separating your matchups, but I'd take his over yours.
I think you're right. I'm very glad I do avoid like Snell or Castillo lining up for 2 starts. Which I'm sure he's also glad that none of my top guys are lining up for 2 starts. But I do think his matchups are slightly better. It could come down to the streaming. Obviously we're seeing a difference that Mike Clevenger has made today, although Michael Wacha is now struggling even more. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think one way or another it's particularly it's not like last week where like I looked at Andrew's team and I was like, oh my God, he's got like 14 starts and he can like pick and play. Like neither of us have that. But it'll be interesting to see how the 2 of us kind of play our pitching staffs this week. From the hitting side, I mean, I think these are the 2 best offensive teams, and I think they're both just absolutely clicking right now. I have no words for it. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath on offense.
It is, yeah. I mean, this could be both teams scoring 65 plus runs.
Yeah, it went on to if we each set like multiple playoff like offensive records, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. Like I don't really see I mean, God. I mean, some of the names on these offenses, like I guess mentioning some key names that we'll both be missing. Tristan Casas is out for the year. Matt McClain sounds like he will be back, but not until next Tuesday, according to David Bell this morning. And then on my side, Christian Yelich. It sounds like they're going to make a decision tomorrow as to whether he's going to land on the IL or they're going to keep him on the active roster. But I'm secretly praying they put him on the IL if he's not going to play, because he's just been clogging up a roster spot for a while now. Not because of performance, just because he's injured and they refuse to do anything about it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, the injuries are tough, but it must be nice to have IL spots to put a guy in if he goes on the IL.
You are never gonna stop at this, are you?
I am not.
All right. Well, that's how it goes. Only other part of our teams I didn't mention, the bullpen. He does already have a save from Adam Ottavino, which came at the expense of Tanner Scott, who came in a tie game for me and blew it, which set up the save opportunity. But Will Smith did his double agent thing and just blew a hold for Jake. So I thank him for that. I have 3 closers: Josh Hader, Tanner Scott, Yennier Cano. He's got 3 big closers: Ryan Presley, Raisel Iglesias, Devin Williams. And then from the whole, and he has Adam Ottavino as well. And then from a Holtz perspective, I mean, he has Matt Brash and Will Smith, and I'm sure he'll be doing some streaming. And then I have Brian Abreu, AJ Minter, and presumably some more streaming. I mean, this and actually an X factor here, maybe Marcus Stroman, who's been pitching out of the bullpen since he's come back from the IL. This feels like I mean a relatively even group here. I don't think one team has a significant advantage over the other in the bullpen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think he's been a better saves team all year, but you've been a better holds team all year.
Yeah, and I'd say especially as of late, because if you look at the for saves, because if you look at the standings for me in saves in the regular season, I was second, but I had like a big lead in first place, and then like I traded Alexis Diaz, and then Felix Bautista went down, and Will Smith started to struggle, and all of a sudden I went from like a team that relied on saves a bunch to one that really did not. So, you ready to pick these?
Let's pick these. So the way we pick the finals is we pick each category as a different, as a separate matchup. So we pick each category as win, loss, or tie. Yeah. Try and I guess if you get the score right, you get a bonus point. But yeah, how did we do last week? I take it I got a score right.
Yeah, we both correctly predicted that me and Jake would win. But you also correctly predicted the score of me v Andrew. You said it would be 8-3-1. It was an 8-3-1 victory for me. So I am 82, 35, and 7. You are 82, 30, and 11 plus the 1. So 83, 30, and 11. Or sorry, you were 83, 30, and 11 without the plus 1. You're now 84, 30, and 11. You guys are not going to have to hear me do math too much longer, so thank God. You are leading, you once again, for the final time this season. Take it away.
All right. Let's see. I think you're going to win runs. I think you're going to win doubles. I'm going to call homers a tie. Let's say homers tie.
Okay.
I think you'll take RBI. Let's see here. I think you're going to take steals. I think Jake will take OBP, Ks, and quality starts. And I think he'll take saves. I think you'll tie holds, and I think you'll take both of the pitching rate stats, giving you a 6-4-2 win, in which I think you're trailing at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon Sunday, and you flip a couple categories. I think you get a late hold on Sunday, and I think you get a couple late RBI on Sunday. To flip the matchup at the very end.
Interesting. Okay. Let's see what I think here. I agree with you on runs. I think I'll take it. I'm gonna knock out the easy categories first. I'm not gonna go in order. I think I'll take runs. I think Jake's gonna take quality starts and strikeouts, and I think he takes saves as well. Honestly, I like pretty much how you pick the pitching, and I'm gonna pick the exact same.
That's not gonna help you win the pick'em.
Yeah. I'm not worried about the pick'em. I think I'll take doubles. I think we're gonna tie, and God damn it, I think you picked this really well. I'm gonna pick me to. Yeah, I gotta make some differentiation here. No, I think Jake's gonna take home runs, and I think I'll win that way 6-5-1.
Okay.
And we're not picking Gallardo, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that the higher seed wins both of those matchups. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna win a narrow one here, and I think Jake's gonna win a narrow one there.
I agree. I think Jake's gonna come out in Gallardo.
Yeah, I will say too, one interesting underrated aspect that we don't that have not discussed as much, although it almost came into the play in the semis matchup in Gallardo, is the fact that the higher seed having the tie. When you do have two teams that are so tightly matched up here, that is really nice to have in the back pocket, both in terms of the matchup, like itself, like however it ends, but also it makes it easier in the final days of the matchup to kind of figure out how to best play it. So that's certainly going to be an interesting dynamic to watch here to see how that affects how both Jake and I strategize in each league, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that tiebreaker, I mean, with one team playing for the tie and one team playing for the win, really yeah, it means you're playing two different games and looking at two different scoreboards.
Exactly. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. This is going to be a bloodbath, and I am terrified. I am
Absolutely.
excited. I am so excited, but also this is terrifying. Um, My goodness. There's a lot on the line here. It is not easy to make it to the finals.
No, it's definitely not. And I felt that last year, really kind of Monday, Tuesday, I felt like I was in a daze and kind of making bad decisions, not really knowing, uh, not really just feeling into it, not feeling like it was real. And you've been out of the finals for 2 years now, so uh you're the you're the fresh blood here. You're the one uh who's going up against the defending champion, and you haven't been in a little bit.
Yeah, no, haven't been in since 2020. So it's been a couple years. It's been a couple really tough semis losses. That one to Connor in 2021 was a really hard pill to swallow. I really thought I was a top team that year. Last year kind of reminded me of the year that you had this year where like things just didn't break like the way that I was hoping they would just at all. Like it's just nothing seemed to go right. Um and I'm hoping this year, kind of with the wisdom of how 2021 went, um, coupled with some really good acquisitions, I feel like I made, um, in 2022 and in 2023. Like I'm hoping this is the year that I'm able to get back on top. But either way, before we end here, no matter what happens, Jake, if you are listening to this, a huge congratulations to you for making it to the finals of both of these leagues. I mean, I know how hard it was for me to make it to the finals of both these leagues, so I know how hard it was for you. I mean, what you Jake came in what year two, year three, and has really turned this team around. So no matter what happens here, if it's back-to-back championships here and a Gallardo championship, that's amazing. If you win one, lose one. If you lose both, whatever. I mean, it's a great season no matter what. So kudos to you, and hopefully we'll have two very fun matchups. And what I dubbed to Cam this week, maybe a hot take, but I don't think so, is the league's new best rivalry.
I don't know. We'll have to see how these finals matchups go, but I'm not gonna go that far yet.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. You and Eric's lost a little bit of heat, maybe. You two lost in the first round.
We haven't been very uh you know competitive with each other, and not in terms of tough matchups because they have been tough matches, but we haven't been very snippy with each other. And maybe that'll change in the coming years, but I think you're not wrong about that.
All right. Yeah, there you go. Well, there you have it. Anything you would like to say before we wrap up here?
No, just getting ready for the off season. Most of us are done for the year, but yeah, I'm looking forward to off season. We got a lot of fun stuff planned. But one more week for all the marbles.
Yeah, one more week for all the marbles, except in the Drew Stubbs Club, in which there is a 2-week finals. So
Of course.
we will have a lot to preview next week, going through how Drew Stubbs Club week 1 did, how did Travis Jankowski do, how did JT Chargeois do. We'll find out next week. And only that next week. We're not going to talk about anything else.
Absolutely. We'll see you then with all the updates.
Yes. Next time we talk, there will be a new league champion or maybe an old league champion who wins again, which I guess would technically, Jake and I would both be old league champions who win again. But